Namaskaram. I'm Medha Dikshit Vella. Every human being on this earth has high potential to achieve something in life. What makes a difference is taking that first step. There are many reasons why someone might not take that first step. Fear being one of them. Fear of failure, fear of being judged, fear of losing. So many reasons to fear. These are the dots we need to connect in life so we achieve what we are here for. Welcome to Dotted Lines. Dotted Lines brings to you some of these amazing people who have conquered their fear, who have taken that first step in life to achieve something which is making a difference in this world. Today with me, I have this very interesting, charming person who is an entrepreneur, who is a parent, an animal lover, a conscious parent, a conscious human being. She has had a very colorful life. With me is Anamika Sengupta. Hi Anamika, welcome back to our next episode. It was a beautiful journey listening to your life story and some of the very interesting episodes you mentioned, about your life. And now we are going to come to a very interesting and one thing that you've been constantly working on. One is your brand Almitra. The other is sustainable living. So, can you just share uh, about Almitra as a brand? How did it start, and what does Almitra mean?
What does Almitra mean? Almitra basically, so I am an ardent fan of Khalil Gibran,
Okay.
and if you must have read his book called The Prophet. So Khalil Gibran is a Lebanese philosopher,
Okay.
and he has written a lot of books. And
Hmm.
The Prophet, in the book The Prophet, there is a girl called Almitra who asks maximum questions to the Prophet.
Hmm.
So it was always in my mind that if I get a daughter, her name will be Almitra.
Yeah.
And if it is a boy, it will be Neo. Neo
Ah.
is the one who will break the matrix.
Ah.
So Neo was born. Yeah. So Neo was born, and so was Almitra. So like
So you had a
so
daughter and
when
a son.
yes, I did. So because the entire Almitra journey started after I bid goodbye to the corporate world and
Hmm.
started off my own, and
Hmm.
that's when even Neo was born at the same time, and started with Almitra Tattva, which is the baby wraps that we make,
Hmm. Hmm.
and it started with wrapping Neo. The first
Hmm.
time that I wrapped him, I got the wrap from US, and
Hmm.
I just thought that we have it so much into our culture, and then still I'm getting a wrap from US. So that was something that I really thought, like, because when I wrapped Neo, the first word or the first feeling that I got was the feeling of empowerment.
Hmm.
And I
Hmm.
really thought that this feeling has to go to new parents.
Hmm. Hmm.
And that's when and also it should be something like, that's when I started talking with weavers, seeing how we can actually weave this in our country, because as it is there in our country, right? Like, people do wrap babies,
Right.
they keep
Right.
clothes. Yeah. So that's when the Almitra journey started. And as Neo started growing up, and we started raising him in a natural way, and that's when so it's like when he started eating, and like, more of natural resources that he needed, like, he's growing. That's when Almitra Sustainables also started. See, I
Hmm.
had been aware about so I've been tuned to nature, but that's about me. And living a plastic free life, it was more than a decade that single use plastic is something that I had stopped in my life.
Hmm.
But taking it to a level where, because while I was raising Neo, I was facing challenges. I was falling prey to the cosmetic world. was falling prey to the plastic world because
Hmm.
of the lack of resources.
Hmm.
And that's when I thought that there will be so many caretakers and families like ours who will be wanting to start a sustainable journey or raising their child in a natural way and not being able to do so. And that's when we
Hmm.
started actually making products or sourcing them, and trying to get small changes that we can make in one's life and go
Hmm.
plastic free.
Hmm.
Small thing, but it can create a great impact.
Great impact,
So
right?
yeah, so actually Almitra Sustainables makes small products, but you can use it for the you can start a day with Almitra and end a day with Almitra. So
Hmm.
basically, and you don't have to touch anything plastic or anything harsh chemical in your life. So we are trying to do that. So it was like, a few years back I couldn't even imagine, like, a bamboo toothbrush is something that I had not even heard of.
Hmm.
And today
Hmm.
we are making one. And
Right.
as I said, like, I always say this, that more than 1 million toothbrushes that we must have sold, that means you have already touched and changed 1 million lives.
Right, right, absolutely. Yeah, I remember visiting your store, and it's so welcoming. With you can see that fresh things around, and very nicely set up store. And can you tell me about the store? I mean, you won that. You won that
Yeah,
store.
so it is in a mall, so it's
It's
so
in a
surprising.
mall.
Yeah, because Almitra Sustainables is about slow living. It is about conscious buying, and you are in a place which is a mall, which is completely hyper buying. So
Right.
yeah, so I did win this in a contest, which is called as a Pink Power contest, which is organized by Inorbit Mall for women entrepreneurs.
Hmm.
So like, and I am a very laid back person. My entry also went like, the last date had gone away, and then I gave my entry.
Hmm.
And so we won it. Won that space. So there were, like, entries all around India come, and they have various very stringent rounds.
Mm-hmm.
And this and I was like, because see, our product, our price ranges are very good. Like, they're
Hmm.
very affordable.
Yes,
So,
yes.
so I really didn't know that how well we will do. But then, then it was like, being in a mall was such a big challenge to us.
Hmm.
Like,
Hmm.
that's what excited me completely, because being there and talking about conscious buying was a challenge, and we
Hmm.
really wanted to accept it. And the journey was so good, like, because the response was overwhelming. People accepted us. People, even if you don't want to buy, it was like it's like a place where you can stand and chat and talk about sustainability. So
Hmm.
it's like,
Hmm. You're at
so
least making an impact. People who are not even aware there is something like this will, it's very eye catching when you enter that place. That's what I felt. And
yeah. And
there is
what
that
was
curiosity where people will come and at least maybe ask you, or even try to Google what this is. What is it?
right,
What
I
this is
was
all about.
surprised. I was very surprised when people didn't know what coir looks like. And they, yeah, even coconut bowls, and they used to call their kids to see, see this is coir. And I was really surprised that, is it that, like, we are going so much away from the soil. And I started accepting it, because initially it happened with like one or two customers, and then I saw that it was so often that people had not seen coir. Then initially I thought that, it is this person. But then I understood that, yes, this is happening. People do not know what a coconut coir is.
That's reality. That's reality.
That is
Right.
sad. Yeah.
Yeah, and I found some very interesting things in your store. From a bottle cleaner to, yeah, of course, toothbrush and some nice organic cotton bags. So, what are the other things that you make from Almitra?
So we work with the government coir cluster. I love
Okay.
to talk about coir so much, because people call it as coconut waste. But as we
Hmm.
all know, or must have learnt in our textbooks in school, that coconut is a fruit which nothing goes waste.
Nothing was
So
waste, right?
yeah, nothing goes waste. So basically this the coir is the husk which coconut has, and
Hmm.
so we make so many innovative products from it, and we work with the coir cluster. So every state has a coir cluster. We work with the
Mm-hmm.
coir cluster. And so synthetic scrub pads are so dangerous,
Hmm.
and we use it so like it is everybody is using it,
Hmm.
but and we can replace it with these coir pads, and these coir pads are so beautifully made. It is also stitched in a particular way that it does not clog your modern drainage. So it is made
Hmm.
according to modern drainage systems.
Hmm. Hmm.
We have the square pads, we have tawashis of all kinds, we have pan and pot brush, we have pan and pot brush with handles. Now we also have toilet cleaners because there is so much of demand. So many people who told us to make toilet cleaners because that is something that you like, So
Hmm.
we have so many scrubbing and cleaning items with made of coir. We have dry brushes, we have shower brushes. So many things of coir. So yes, apart from toothbrushes, apart from reusable straws, bags, we have coir, we have copper bottles, we have coconut bowls, we have cutlery, we have coconut cutlery, we have bamboo
Wow.
cutlery. Yeah.
And these are things which we think they don't have an alternate to what we usually use, but we can find everything in nature and maybe just a little mold of that and what you've been giving. So people here in Mumbai, I think you really need to visit this place to see an alternate to what we have been using in our everyday life. So coming to you being an entrepreneur, there is something very special about your business. You follow slow business techniques, and you even give talks about it. Uh, can you just briefly talk about that part of slow business, because you're not into this rush and rat race and all that. So how does that work?
So I don't know whether it works or not when you say how does it work, because a lot of people may feel that it may not work. And um, so when you are working with artisans, see the what is fair trade, what is ethical business. You are not working with machines.
Mm,
So basically, when you are doing something handmade and you are getting into fast business, there is no other answer to it other than exploitation.
mm,
Because if human beings have to be used like machines, it is simple. You don't need brains to understand that. But if human beings are used as machines, it is exploitation. So
mm,
yes, when we are doing a lot with hand skills, we are doing, even with when we say that we are making things from natural resources. So if we are talking about a speed of like scalability of making natural resources available to everyone, so you can imagine the exploitation of nature which will happen.
mm,
So
mm,
this has its own time and it has its own cycle. So
mm,
even I refuse bulk orders many a times. It's not about production. So it's not about your producing capacity. It is about whether you want to produce that much or not, and whether you are
mm,
distinguishing between your wants and needs.
mm,
Like,
mm,
we have something like a bamboo comb or a neem comb with us. But believe me, Meda, I don't comb. We have straws, but I never use a straw.
mm,
So so yes, but yes, people still have to at least come to that step of using a natural resource and slowly giving up things which are not needed.
which are not
So
needed.
yeah, so logically it is not going to make sense if you are going to replace everything with natural resources, because
Mm,
then you are exploiting nature.
mm, mm,
You have to
right.
get yourself tuned to nature. You have to
Mm, mm,
coexist with nature, and nature has to give you, rather than you taking from nature. Nature has to give
right.
you, because
That's very well said. Very well said. No, that
yeah,
difference between need and what is what makes a huge difference.
right.
Just
So
because nature has it, you can't get greedy and pounce on it and just grab it all. You need to give it time and slow down.
Yeah, so there's so many, like, who, like, told me that we are interested in investing in your business. We want, like, about increasing. So even so they talk about social obligation, that don't you feel that your products have to reach everywhere, and you need to do this, so the products will reach everywhere slowly. And I was speaking to a very good artisan. In fact, he has a small unit, and I was telling him how do we do this. And he just told me that, you know what, we need to go into a learning model, a teaching model. And that is so right. It is not that
Yeah.
everything in the world has to be done by me. It's like, if I try, and or anybody else, you need to try and teach and make these models, and that is
Mm.
sustainable. Not that, I want to capture the world and, like, give an
Monopolize
opportunity.
everything.
Yeah, so it is not about that, like, how fast the business grows. If it is natural, it is going to grow. If it is
Mm.
unnatural, it will collapse someday or the other. If it is natural, it is the characteristic to grow. It will reach. I have started it. I have, I have planted it, and it will definitely grow, and it will
Mm.
definitely reach the people where it is. Suppose it sounds philosophical, but it is not philosophical. It is how the
Nature.
nature.
It's just law of nature. That's how it works.
Yeah, that's how it works.
Right. So from this, I would like to continue our conversation about sustainable living. So I will start my question with how do you define sustainable? The word sustainable.
How do I define the word sustainable?
Yes.
Sustainable, I define it with coexistence only.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So once, because I also feel that coexistence is not an option, but it is the only option which is available right now. So if we can coexist with nature, we will sustain. So biodegradable, this, that, I won't even go into that.
Mm-hmm.
Sustainable Sustainability is something which is coexisting
Mm.
with nature, understanding the design and where I stand. Right now, we think that we are the one who only stands, or
Right.
it's just us.
Right.
So understanding where in the design I stand, and living with that design
Mm-hmm.
is
Right.
sustainability.
So can you illustrate few things from your life? So some of us can get an idea where we can start a lifestyle like this, or adapting or understanding this concept of coexistence.
Understanding the concept of coexistence is just being aware. Okay, is opening your minds and seeing around you. It
Mm-hmm.
can even start, like, by growing your own food. It
Mm-hmm.
can just start with that. So in fact, we are doing a ek mutti mitti challenge. I did my first, like, I did a workshop right now, for the first time for the corporates. I have been always doing it for conscious crowds. So first time for the corporates, and that too over a Zoom. So it was like,
Oh.
yeah, so
Mm.
but it was such a beautiful experience.
Mm.
And so how to grow your own food with just one fistful of soil, nothing
Okay.
else. So when,
Mm-hmm.
because when we talk about growing our own food, people start thinking about large expanse of land, or like, especially so urban. So it is the blocks is here. It's not that when
Mm.
we say that, okay, you know what, we stay in flats and we don't have space.
Mm.
We don't have space here, because
Mm.
food can be grown everywhere, on your windowsill, in your balcony, on your terrace. And while I say that, when I talk about growing your own food, it is, so that's where you can start. That's where
Mm.
so you don't even, that's what I told in the session, that you don't even need a tutor to tell you how to grow your own food. Because when you sow a seed, it will grow.
Mm.
It just
Mm.
grows. There is
Mm.
no right way or wrong way, but yes, we can talk about some things, some tips probably, because we always want to hear those.
Mm.
But if
Mm.
really also, when you leave it in the fridge also, it starts sprouting.
Mm.
Whether I put it in a muslin cloth and keep it, it will sprout. I keep it in the fridge, it will sprout. So
Right.
the nature of the seed is to sprout.
Mm.
So yes, we can start with that. We can
Mm-hmm.
start growing your own food. even with a one fistful of soil,
Mm-hmm.
because that's what, because while we are in the sky rises, we have lost connection with the soil. So that
Mm-hmm.
one small thing also starts making you connected, and connected with the soil. That's very much needed, that
Right.
communication between the plant and you is needed.
Right. Right. So, what are the other aspects that you think, in a very everyday life setup? What are the other simple things that we can inculcate to coexist?
It's just first simple thing is like plastic free, go plastic free. And
Mm.
it's not difficult at all to go plastic free. At least start going single plastic free. Everybody is talking about it, and it's no big deal. People never forget. We don't forget to carry our phones, so but we forget to carry our bags. So it's a lifestyle. Yeah, it's a lifestyle issue, because when a urban person, when he or she leaves their house, that I can take a bag, I can take a bottle, I can take this, I can take that. You can just go empty handed. And there
Mm.
are, so now, in fact, I don't know when you are going to release this interview, but now during the lockdown, I think it was one of the best ways to show that that resources were very limited,
Right.
and we still sailed through. So
Mm.
yes, so there can be a situation where nothing is available.
Mm. Mm.
We need to learn to think that those things don't exist, and
Mm-hmm.
start, so you can start from there. And
Mm. Say no to plastic, then start growing your own food, and you can start using something that's available to you naturally.
yeah, and if you cannot connect to the outside world, if you cannot connect to the dolphins which are dying in the sea, try and connect to yourself. Try and see what is good for me, because we are a part of nature, and anything that we do unnatural to ourselves, whether it is a packet of chips or anything that we do unnatural to ourselves, we do something unnatural to the nature. So just be
Mm.
natural, because that's very simple, to go
Right.
inward and be natural to yourself.
Yeah,
Forget the
yeah,
world.
yeah. No, I really like what you said, because if we who are part of nature, if we try to do something unnatural to ourselves, we are doing unnatural things to the nature. It's a very, very interesting concept, and it's not rocket science actually. All that we need
Right.
is to sit back, introspect, and see what is that we are doing.
Yeah, because all the answers will come from here. Because to be very frank, people have written so many things about dogs or animals. We know their basic nature, but we don't know our basic nature.
Because we are very busy looking at others and judging and
Yeah, we don't even know our basic nature, as simple as a childbirth. We don't even know what is needed for us to give birth to a child. It is that way. So we don't even know about the natural things.
So it's I think at a very base level, it's me connecting to my own self, understanding that I'm a part of nature.
That's right. That's right. And not harming yourself. It's very simple, na? Don't think about harming others, or like, I won't harm others, I won't harm environment. Don't think about that. Be
Right.
self-centered. Be self-centered. Doesn't matter. So it's like, don't harm yourself.
Right. When you become conscious of that, I think a lot of things are taken care of automatically.
Correct.
Right. Uh, this whole thing about sustainable living, it becomes one cycle, when we speak about it. Can you just brief us about what a sustainable life cycle would look like? No.
What a sustainable life cycle. Okay, in very a layman term, I will tell you.
Right,
Like,
right. See,
yeah,
because the reason I'm asking this question is, we all talk about it. I mean, now this has become quite a happening thing, I would say, sustainable living. But do we really understand where it starts and what is that we are looking for? That whole cycle. So that's where my question comes from.
it is basically, again, I would tell the same thing. It is just tuning and being with nature. Okay, and it's like, I would say that what comes from nature goes back to nature. and that's the only principle when we talk about a cycle. Hmm. And a very small example, that I was giving in one of my session about growing your own food, is like
Hmm.
we usually say from farm to plate,
Hmm.
but I was
Hmm.
taking a session on making your own seed bank of
Hmm.
amount of vegetables and fruits in our kitchen and the
Hmm.
amount of seeds that they give.
Hmm.
So it's basically the seeds coming from the kitchen, and then you growing it, and again
Going
consuming
it.
it. So it's like basically um, uh, kitchen to farm, farm to plate, plate to kitchen. So that's the cycle.
Right. And a lot of learning that you have also been going through, as I know. You recently went somewhere to learn about permaculture and handmade soaps, making handmade soaps. Uh, so, how has this learning journey been to you?
So basically, it's I went to learn herbalism and wildcrafting and
Okay.
introduction to permaculture. So
Okay.
personal care or handmade soaps is just a part of it. So
Mm-hmm.
basically, again it is going back to your roots, and again when you say wildcrafting, it is just connecting to nature, I would say. There are so many recipes which are there in nature itself, and so right from making tinctures to salves, like I have such a I have so many bougainvilleas, and I never knew that these bougainvilleas are can make such a good tea. You can make bougainville
Oh,
tea, make,
right.
yeah, you can make tinctures and so many things. So it's basically connecting and learning. So
Hmm.
that is what actually, that's what I went to learn. And I
Hmm.
think it was so inspiring because my mentors, my teachers were such wonderful people, and
Hmm.
I think they made it more stronger in me to grow our own food and going off the grid, because
Hmm.
this is so important, Meda.
Right.
It might sound very rebellious, but yes, going off the grid is very important, because it's your birthright. Growing
Hmm.
your own food, understanding what goes in my body is my birthright, and saving
Hmm.
energy.
Hmm.
So reclaiming
Hmm.
that thing back,
Hmm. Hmm.
because I need not then be dependent on a government to feed me, or anyone.
Right. And I
Because
saw some of your posts during the COVID thing when you started. You experimented with permaculture, and end of COVID, you had your own plants, and you had, I think, melons. You had grown some melons, if I'm
Yes,
not wrong.
yes. So we did a self-composting bed, because of the lockdown, we didn't even have too much of soil with us, or
Mm-hmm.
many things we did not, because we usually grow our own food in my office,
Mm-hmm.
which has a backyard and a front yard. And so the lockdown was suddenly announced, and we didn't have too much of resources at home.
Hmm.
And so whatever we had, and we made a self-composting bed. And that's what we say, the lockdown was for us, not for nature. And if you see now, if I would have been able to show you all that, it's like it's grown so well. So it's like the amount of vegetables in such a small period of time, between this 2.5
And
months.
this was all in your apartment.
Yeah, it's on iv. I have a small terrace, so it was there, but it is just, don't get scared by the word terrace. Okay, she has space, it is not like that. You can make this self-composting bed in a small pot itself. So
Hmm.
it's not that, but we did, because we had a terrace, we did multiple vegetables. And again, when
Hmm.
I say permaculture, so these are with companion plants, plants which help each other, plants which stay with each other. And so you don't have to, so you make a mini forest. Basically permaculture
Hmm.
is replicating forest in a small place.
Right, right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so many things to learn, so many things to know. Uh, yeah, it is. I mean, it really inspired me now to start off growing my own food. Though I tried doing few plants, but definitely want to grow my own food and eat and start off this journey. So, is there anything that you would like to share uh, apart from that? the things that we spoke over a period of time now.
Like on something particular that you want me to share, or
Anything that you would like to tell people or share any experience.
so right now I would like, my entire focus again, like, is only about growing your own food,
Mm,
because I think the contentment that you get through it, and the way, see, you really feel empowered by doing it.
mm,
And there is something, like I always say, it's also your body democracy, and respecting your body, what goes inside me or what goes inside my children or the children, like, it's not even only your children, but the next generation. So it's very
mm,
important for us to take that responsibility as well of
mm,
what goes into them. So you feel very powerful when you grow your own food. You
mm,
understand and you have that entire control of what goes inside my body. And I think everybody should grow their own food, and
mm,
that's my only appeal. And as I again said, if you want to ask me what I want to speak to, like, or any message, is like, this fistful of soil, that's all. This
right.
fistful of soil will give you
Power
this
of
power.
fist.
Power of fist. Seriously, it will give you the power of fist. Try it. Do not have any inhibitions, don't have mental blocks, because it is nothing. Those
Mm,
are seeds which will grow. If nothing, you can just do microgreens. Okay, if you want, I will show you something. Just give me a moment. Yeah, it's your right away. Small parcel that you get for the food.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, food parcels that you
Ah,
get, and
right,
these are
right,
micro, just one full of soil. Okay, and
right.
these microgreens have so much of power in it, like, because they have the full life force. When they grow, they are shooting, right? So they are sprouting. So you can just have these as microgreens in your salads, or you
Mm-hmm.
can grow that completely and harvest it.
Mm,
So this is just wheatgrass and some mustard and some fenugreek, that's all.
mm,
And
mm.
you can do at least this much,
Right, right.
and
Yeah,
start saving seeds. And
ah,
if you cannot sow them, throw them in soil wherever you can. Just let it
mm,
grow back.
right, right.
Don't trash it.
Ah, right. Yes, I think that was a very, very strong message, I would say, and a message that is like the need of our. We've all seen and
Right,
gone through this phase, which has been tough on everybody, and we don't know what life is going to be in future. So
right,
this was just
it's been enough that we have been careless.
exactly. So it's
Yeah,
time that we become conscious. As it is, we are fighting our life. It's almost as if we are born to fight our life. So let's do it very consciously. Thank you so much, Anamika, for giving us a beautiful insight into what life is all about and being conscious about our life and looking into our own self, which can in turn make our life sustainable.
thank you so much, Medha, and it was a very soulful conversation with you, as always. And I really enjoyed this session, and hope to meet you soon in person.
Yes, yes, same here. Looking forward to meet you soon. Thank you for giving us this time of yours. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.